Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello, hope everyone's doing well. This is the beginning of episode 8, season 1, part 1 of the Rabbits podcast breakdown. Elysian Drift is the title, and let's get into it. Kind of mesmerizing about it.
Last time, Jones revealed what he'd proposed was another message from the past, answering a question sent from the present. It's a lot to consider, I know.
Like I said in the last episode, something like that would creep me way out. I mean, it would be just creepy above and beyond. I just, not real sure about it. Yeah, that would, yeah.
I'm having a hard time with this one as well. Jones also asked me the following questions. Do I want to go through my entire life half awake? Or do I want to put in the effort to see, to go deeper? Well, if it means finding my friend, then the answer is yes. I want to see. Yes, I want to go deeper. He warned me that once I'd heard what he had to say, the world would never look the same.
And that's normally how it is when the world as you know it ends and you wake up in a new world. Or as REM would say, it's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine.
Well, he was right. Kind of. Jones came over to my place. He brought some wine. I poured us each a glass, took a huge sip, and waited. It didn't take long for him to dive right in.
I wonder how somebody in Seattle would define a large sip versus somebody here in Texas. There's absolutely no telling.
I haven't been able to find any other participants. It looks like they've all just disappeared.
All of them?
Yes. It almost looks like nobody else is playing the game.
That's kind of weird.
Is that odd?
Incredibly odd. I can always find a few players at least.
Always?
Always. I also haven't been able to find the magician to ask him what's going on.
What does this mean?
It means I'm worried. It means I believe we're running out of time.
Time for what?
Time to figure things out. Time to win rabbits.
Win the game, save the world.
Okay. What do we do now? Where do we start?
Could you show me the photo of that passenger pigeon from the museum in Seattle?
Sure.
Okay. You see that?
What?
The tag.
All right. Yes, there's a tag.
This passenger pigeon is specimen number 6878.
Okay, great. So?
6878. When I type those numbers into Google Earth as measurements of longitude and latitude,
Yeah.
I get this.
Holy shit, that's...
The Gazprom Neft plant.
And I'm really not sure, but I think for longitude and latitude you need more than 4 numbers. But it may be, like 6.0, 68.00, 78.00. There's no telling. They don't go into detail, but I am pretty sure that your degrees in longitude and latitude are more than just 4 numbers.
It's located at longitude 68.00 and latitude 78.00.
There we go. He explains it. I missed that the first time I listened to it. Learn something new every time. That's why I like going and revisiting things like these podcasts and books that I read, because you get focused on something and sometimes you miss little things like this.
Those exact coordinates.
That's one hell of a coincidence.
Well, there's more.
Like what?
This spool of thread from Arcadia?
What about it?
Look at the color.
What about the color? It's green.
Yes, but it's a very specific green. It's Découvie cotton green number 6878.
Coincidence? Maybe. Planned? Possibly.
He flipped the spool over to reveal the number, 6878. I had to admit, these coincidences were starting to freak me out a little. So, the passenger pigeon, the spool of thread, and the plant in Russia all feature the number 6878. These have to be coincidences, don't they?
Maybe.
Maybe
Maybe.
not.
I mean, yes, they are coincidences. But what if they're also something else?
Like my comic, Priesthood 1 being an anagram for The Doors Open.
Exactly like that. These coincidences are indicators that certain events, or a certain event, is in motion.
An event like what? What are you talking about?
Okay, what if these increasing coincidences surrounding a certain point? What if they're a signpost? A signifier indicating that you're close to something? That progress is being made? Indicators that you're on the right path?
Coincidences again. Like your strange attractors theory?
Yes.
And sometimes a whole bunch of coincidences adding up, you never know. Could be something more devious.
They might indicate that we're close to finding an inflection point.
And inflection points are numbers?
They could be.
What do you mean?
Okay. This is when things are going to start to sound a little crazy.
Not that everything that we've experienced in the first 7 episodes isn't crazy, that is.
You say that a lot.
Fair point. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you believe the questions I asked in that forum were somehow being answered by somebody in the past?
Are you serious?
Yes.
Then, no. I don't.
Yet another coincidence. Or are they reading too little or too much into the message from the past?
Do you?
How do you explain the specificity of those responses? The exact time reference matching up with those messages?
Alleged messages.
Okay. So what do you think?
Well, I suppose somebody faked those Marigold recordings and set this whole thing up.
You don't sound convinced.
Yeah, I don't know. It's it's messy.
How could they know how to answer the questions I was going to ask on that forum?
Well, Jones, the possibility that you made everything up is far more believable, to be honest. No offense.
Hey, none taken. I understand completely. Occam's razor. If I were you, I'd feel the same way.
Okay.
The fact that Jones doesn't get upset or mad or anything tends to make me believe that he's not making it up. Or at least it did the first time I listened through it.
So let's consider for a moment that you didn't make all of this stuff up.
Oh, okay.
Do you believe the game is somehow communicating from the past?
That's a hard question.
You asked me the same thing.
Right. Another fair point.
And the fact that Jones is willing to concede that, yeah, his answer is that it's a hard question. Then she flips it on him, and he accepts it. He's good with it. Gives, for me, he's got more credibility.
Okay, let's put a pin in that for now. How about another somewhat related question?
Shoot.
Do you believe in multiple dimensions? Or the idea popularized by Bryce DeWitt, the many worlds theory?
The many worlds theory and or the Mandela effect could play into here. Authors like Robert A. Heinlein and Philip K. Dick kind of explored parallel universes in some of their books. So yeah, it is a good trope for science fiction, especially in a podcast like this one.
I think it's possible. Theoretically possible, but sure, yeah, okay.
And do you believe, or would you be willing to entertain the idea that it's possible that the past and the future might just be other dimensions?
I suppose it's possible. I don't believe we know everything we can about the nature of time.
Okay, I'm gonna backtrack a little here. I'm afraid I was being a little overdramatic on the telephone earlier.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Okay.
But I'm still gonna tell you what you might refer to as crazy shit.
And like I said earlier in this video, everything we've had in the first 7 episodes can be classified as crazy shit.
Great.
But until recently, I wasn't sure I actually believed it, or at least not all of it. I'm still not sure what to believe.
Okay, disclaimer acknowledged and accepted.
Okay, well, I'm going to attempt to clarify things that I've hinted at in the past. It's kind of...
Just say it.
Okay.
I get like that sometimes. The people that they keep building themselves up to say something, building them up, and you're like, come on, just say it.
Here goes. The theory is known as Elysian drift.
Right. You made that up, didn't you?
There are some people who believe there are multiple dimensions, like ribbons, and that our dimension is only one of many.
Okay.
And like I mentioned earlier, the past and the future, or for that matter, all of the pasts, presents, and futures are simply different dimensional ribbons.
I'm still following.
Okay, good. Imagine multiple dimensions, each moving forward like ribbons in a river made up of smaller substreams, each stream requiring periodic adjustments in order to remain viable and healthy.
Okay.
See this first part and the rest of his explanation reminds me of a talk that I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson say, talking about the from what we know of physics and mathematics, that a black hole, as far as we can tell, nothing can escape the black hole. And it takes all this matter and sucks it in, then blows it out the other side, and kind of an explosion or a big bang, as you would want to, as you can put it. And each one of those big bangs is an alternate galaxy or alternate timeline or whatever, however you want to think. So if all the matter gets sucked down into the small thing after it reaches a bursting point and blows out the other side, what Stephen Hawking theorized would be a white hole, where everything is being thrown at such great speed. So yeah, that goes together.
And streams that don't receive these periodic adjustments when required will atrophy to entropy, and at that point, the dimension moving within that stream will break apart and disappear from existence.
That sounds final.
Like chaos theory, strange attractors, and the butterfly effect, there are those who believe that rabbits is part of a complex system, an elaborate adjustment system, guiding energy toward inflection points that, when pressed enough, will result in nudging that dimension back to health until another adjustment is required.
This is interesting. The whole adjustment thing. That's kind of a unique spin on it. I kind of like it. It's one of those things. It's just, it's kind of crazy. I wonder what Michikaku, who's a well-regarded string theory scientist, I wonder what his view on that would be.
Coincidences.
One of the system's ways of letting you know you're on the right path. Markers or signposts along the way. The more seemingly coincidental events, the closer you are to...
making an adjustment.
That's right.
And winning the game?
Yes. Maybe.
And the Wardens?
Work to make sure the adjustments are taking place.
You seriously believe this stuff?
Now the question is, are these adjustments, are these wardens, and all this stuff related to the Rabbids game, is that done by, say, a divine power, extra-dimensional beings? You know, who knows? Just something to let bounce around your head for a minute or two or a while.
I'm not 100% convinced one way or the other.
Thank God.
But I've seen and experienced things.
What kind of things?
Crazy things.
You've seen and experienced things too, Carly. I think it's time we talked about our parents and their involvement in the Gatwick Institute.
And that seems like a good place in this episode. So until next time, out there, be safe, have fun, peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?